Well, we deal with uncertainty all the time, all around the globe.
Not this kind.
Well, it's another big day, it's another big vote, but every negotiation I've ever been in always goes down to whatever the last day, the last hour of the deadlines, and I'm not sure this is it. We'll see.
But you're going to stay in England, no matter what happens?
Yes, we will stay in England.
Because it used to be British Petroleum.
And now it's BP.
BP, but
right.
there was the British there at the first part, Bob.
Sure. That's where we're headquartered. We're going to stay there.
Okay.
It's a great place for us.
But obviously, keen focus. I mean, Brexit, big deal.
Well, it is in the country. We'll see what happens. For BP, our revenues are in dollars. We pay our dividends in dollars. It has less of an impact for BP.
Let's talk about dollars, because you guys come through a tough time, but man, cash, excuse me, you got me all choked up thinking about your earnings. Cash flow has been off the charts. And you guys have reinvested in about $2 to $2.5 billion, a lot of that going into the Permian Basin. Is there any feeling at all the Permian may be getting overdone in any way?
Well, it's a really unusual big oil field. There's good parts, there's other parts that are less good, but it's very, very thick. You have to run very fast to keep production up, but it's a great place to produce oil and gas. So we're very happy. We made a $10 billion acquisition with BHP the end of last year. We just took over the operations on the 1st of March. Very pleased with it. It shows confidence in it.
Yeah, and also offshore. You know, we were on an oil rig a couple of months ago, one of your competitors, sorry about that, and Thunder Horse, one of your rigs, about a billion barrel equivalent expected discovery there. How much more money is BP going to put into offshore?
Well, we do quite a bit offshore, including massive investments in the Gulf of Mexico. We're probably the largest producer in the Gulf, probably over 300,000 barrels a day. We do offshore in Africa, we do offshore in the UK. These are, we had our accident. We focus on safety and reliability of those operations, but we haven't walked away from deep water at all.
Tens of billions of dollars in restitution. Is that over with now, or that's almost over?
Well, I think we pretty much have it all provisioned. We've up to the total cost of the spill, $67 billion. That's a lot to come back for. Now we can plan our obligations. They're very clear to us, and they're at a lower level now. And I think that's behind us. It'll never be out of our memory, though, in terms of how we operate things.
And obviously the technology has changed substantively since then. There is going to be increased cash flow once those payments are provisioned.
That's right.
Where's that money going to go, Bob? What's the best use for the BP shareholder dollar right now?
Well, first thing with dollars, we're going to remain disciplined. I think this is what our shareholders keep saying. Even if the price of oil drifts up, are you going to go out and spend it on lots of capital? So we've said very clearly $15 to $17 billion of capital all the way through 2021. We said that in 2017. We're going to stick with that. We're going to probably notch down our debt. We need to bring that back down. And then we've got options. We've got options of dividend increases. We are going to offset this thing called the scrip dividend in the UK so we don't dilute our shareholders. I mean, we've got a plan, but let's see what happens. It's not precise, and it all depends on the actual cash flows that come in. Optimistic about it.
Bob, thanks so much for joining us. I've got a question here from the stock exchange. I wanted to ask what you felt about President Trump's attitude towards the broader oil industry. Is he a friend of the oil industry? Because of late he has been mentioning quite often about how much he'd like to see a lower oil price.
Well, I can tell you, being in the industry, and it's not just the oil and gas industry, infrastructure companies, industrial companies, there has been a notch back in regulations, and decisions are made that is allowing more investment to come. The reduction in the tax rates have certainly led to more investment in oil and gas, including foreign investment in oil and gas. So I think he understands the value of it, as does Secretary Perry.
And on that front, we look at news from the Financial Times with documents collated by Greenpeace that show that despite BP's stand on climate change, and I know I've read that you're expecting to give a speech tonight calling for more action on the point of the oil industry on climate change, that instead you're fighting methane regulation, that you're lobbying the Trump administration to roll back some of the Obama-era environmental regulations. How do you coincide the public stance with what the company is doing?
Well, that's a good question, because I read that article this morning when I got up, and I thought, where did that come from, really? We're trying to be leaders on methane emissions. We've set targets of 0.2% methane reduction levels, not reductions, levels for the company, reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. I don't know where that came from. We've been working with the administration. We support direct regulation of methane. We've been making investments all through our gas fields to reduce methane leakage. So I think what we have been doing is working with the Trump administration, making sure that the regulations allow for new technologies to come in, not be too prescriptive, but we support regulation on methane.
You think the article is inaccurate in some ways?
Well, I think yes, it seemed to me to be inaccurate and overstated. And we made a very direct response to that article, but that's not what's, of course, been repeated over and over.
On the Brexit issue, I want to go back to what we started with, given that the vote is live right now. And I know Wilfred might have another question as well. He knows more about Brexit, by the way. He's forgotten more about it than I know. But if we get a deal, if there is a deal, if there is no hard Brexit, do you think that's going to benefit companies like BP, not on the business side? Will it directly benefit your stock?
I don't know. I look at
Brexit put.
I wonder sometimes when I look at all the FTSE 100 companies, and we have as much traded on the New York Exchange as here. I'm not sure, but it can't help but be a little bit of a lift when uncertainty is removed. But I don't know as I see a Brexit lack of premium in our shares. I don't know if I see that. And again, we're regarded as like a resource company, revenues in dollars, dividends in dollars, less affected by it. Certainly reduce uncertainty in the UK.